All right. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am well. Good morning, Facebook people.
Hello,
Hey to
Facebook.
everyone. Hey to everyone in Facebook land. We are back with our first coffee and conversation of 2021.
Indeed, indeed.
We did take a little break there for a little minute from coffee and conversation, but we are back. And I feel like today we need to change the name from coffee and conversation to tea and talk, because neither of us are actually drinking coffee today.
That's actually really good. That's really clever. Did you come up with that on the spot?
I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, you know what? 11 o'clock, it's not coffee time, it's tea time for me. So it should be tea talk.
Tea talk, tea talk. All right, I'm ready.
So for those of us who are, or those that are just joining us for the very first coffee and conversation / tea talk, this is basically where we jump on to Facebook and have a bit of a chat about a topic. It's pretty casual. Feel free to throw any comments or questions that you have in the comments, and we'll try and address those as we go. And we've sort of addressed lots of different topics over 2020. So we did HIIT training, we did motivation. I think Deb and I did a bit of fitness philosophies. Suad and I did training during Ramadan. So the topics are quite broad, but today's topic is FIIT30. So we are talking, yeah, we're talking all about FIIT30, and it's definitely a topic that you are right across, because what do you do in the club?
I coordinate FIIT30, funnily enough. So I'm not biased in the slightest. But no, I coordinate FIIT30. I also do some coaching as well. But yeah, my pride and joy is the FIIT30 program.
And I'd like to think that I am also not biased to FIIT30, but despite being team leader for group fitness, I do also have a bit of a soft spot for FIIT30 and participate quite regularly.
FIIT30 loves you.
So let's kick it off just by explaining to everyone who has never experienced FIIT30 or are not sure what it is. Let's just, in a nutshell, what is FIIT30?
So FIIT30 is a program whereby we can improve cardiovascular fitness and strength. So we do a combination of movements. Some movements you may have seen, such as deadlifts and front squats. We also work power movements, such as hang cleans and push press. So we really are quite the all-rounder. We try to get you overall stronger, more powerful, and better on the cardio gear.
Yes. So it's really a sort of all-encompassing program. Who is FIIT30 for?
FIIT30 can be for anyone. So pretty much what happens with FIIT30 is you have a coach that will coach that class. So we deliver programs each day, but each program can be substituted in terms of exercises to meet you where you're at. So if you're new, then obviously we have scalable exercises that we can use to meet you where you're at. If you have an injury, then the coach scales or changes the exercise to meet you where you're at. If you're a really high-performing athlete, then we ramp things up and we meet you where you're at. Either way, the idea is to make it so that everybody can do it and everybody can progress, but everybody's got a different start point. So in that essence, it's for everybody. It's very community orientated. So our group of girls are very welcoming. They're very supportive. So there's no need to feel intimidated coming into a group setting, because we're not strangers in FIIT30. It's not a bunch of strangers doing an exercise session together. It's a group of women supporting each other. And in terms of the experience that's required to come into the class, like I said, from beginner to advanced, everything's scalable. So it meets everyone.
And I think that's probably one of the really important things to point out, is that with FIIT30, and often I get the same comments with group fitness as well, that people are waiting until they're fit enough to try it, when the purpose of these programs and these classes is to get you fit. You don't need to be fit to try it. The purpose is to get you fit.
That's 100% the case. I can understand that when you're starting out, it can be pretty daunting. I think sometimes people look at FIIT30 from the outside and it looks a little bit intimidating, but just know that each woman that's working in that class is working at where she's at. So yes, of course, we want to see you sweat. Yes, of course, we want to hear you go, oh no, but ultimately that's your comfort zone that we're pushing. Everyone's got a different comfort zone, but we always want to be pushing it. That's where your progress is. So if you would like to progress, actually, in hindsight, there's no point coming in and jumping on the treadmill and waiting until you're fit enough. If you want to progress, it's time to throw yourself in the deep end and have faith in the coaches, and just know that the program itself, given that it lends itself to a few different domains of fitness, so strength and power and cardiovascular fitness, will get you there. It just takes time and just a little bit of bravery. Just dip your toe in the water and see how you go. It's not as daunting as it looks from the outside.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I really love about FIIT30 is that community aspect that you spoke about. So even if we're all doing our own individual workout with our own individual movements, there is still really that sense of community and people supporting each other. And one of my favourite things in FIIT30 is when we do team workouts or, a workout which involves maybe the 6:30 a.m. crew competing with the 9:30 a.m. crew. That's some of my favourite stuff in FIIT30, and it really does make you feel super supported within that environment.
And that's what we aim to have, because ultimately we all need a little bit of motivation. And as a coach, I can give you as much motivation and information as I can, but sometimes having that motivation coming from someone that's either where you're at or have been at recently helps just that little bit more, because they understand where you're coming from. They can meet you on the level of, hey, look, I was concerned when I started, but now look at me. I'm doing this and this, and I never thought I could. So it's always important. We have a huge variety of different fitness levels in FIIT30. When we do the teamwork, it's always amazing to see the girls come together and talk about what they're going to do, their approach, communicate while they're doing their workout and competing. There's a friendly competition. It's definitely not something where everyone's hardcore competing. It's friendly competition, and it gets people across the line. It also keeps them mentally switched on and focused, and it reduces that sense of kind of boredom, because you're really striving. You are really trying to work with your partner. So it's great. I do love the teamwork and things like that. And remember, like most things, there's always someone that's going to be at your level. Okay, so you're never going to be thrown in with a whole bunch of professionals and be expected to perform that way. So just understand that the coaches know where you're coming from.
And I think one of the interesting things that people might like to hear is the people that I love working with in FIIT30 and I find most inspirational are the ones who are new to FIIT30 and they're getting in there and they're giving it a go and they're really giving it their all. They drive me to do more.
Yeah, 100%. And we see this a lot, actually. The girls come in, and when they first come up to the coach, you can tell it's their first session. They're a little bit timid. They're not quite sure of where they are placed, what to do. And then within 1 or 2 sessions, they have got a smile on their face. They are loving it. When's your next class? I'm booked in tomorrow. Can't get enough. It's so good. When we have things like the 6-week challenge, oftentimes girls come and do the 6-week challenge and they're a little bit intimidated by FIIT30. But when they start it, by the time the 6-week challenge is finished, they either come into the FIIT30 or they're really like, oh man, I wish I could do it more. So it is for everybody at every fitness level. And once you have a go at it, you certainly become a little bit addicted.
A little addictive. Yeah. So let's talk.
Well, I was going to say it is that way because you're only really working with yourself and progressing yourself. And who doesn't like to see their own progression?
Mm. And let's talk about progression. That's where I was going next. So that was a beautiful segue. Let's talk about the programming and how it's designed in order to get the progression and the results.
Okay. So in terms of the programming, I break it up into like a cycle. So we do talk about progression and progressive kind of overloading. So we have our lifts that we do. So our deadlifts, our squats, things like that. Those are our primary focus lifts. But we've also now got load and pacing targets, which we use based on if you're a beginner, an intermediate, or a very advanced FIIT30 member. So those things there, they help us to, over the course of about 8 weeks, we slowly but surely increase the intensity or the load that you could expect. So we would start at about 60%, moving up to 70, 80, 85, and then we find ourselves peaking at about 90% of what we would consider to be our maximal load, or the things that we find very, very, very heavy. And then we come down into a deload week. We're currently in a deload week at the moment, where the girls get a chance to just recover from that 90%. It's strenuous. You know, you work hard, your brain's working hard, your body's working hard. So we give you a week just to move through some of your motions, practice your technique, work on your flexibility, doing all those things. And then we come back and we do something called strength testing. And when we do this strength testing, we use that information that we collect, which is very individualized. There's no prescribed weight for you. You lift what you can lift, and then that tells us where you are in the weeks coming. So that way we know that the weight that you're asked to move is the weight that you're capable of moving, not something that we think you should move, not guesswork, not something that's just broad. Okay, so with those movements, that builds our strength focus. And then when we have our load focus, so things like our med ball slams, our med ball over shoulders, our kettlebell swings, those kind of exercises that you see quite frequently, we use your level of experience and technical skill to guide you further and further along those weight ranges. Okay, so if you come into FIIT30, and even if you've done kettlebell swings for the last 12 months and we're still not 100% sure if your technique is great at that point, then we will address it with you. We'll let you know, hey, listen, we just want to work on this. Let's bring you back to the intermediate until we do. And then once we're good, we'll send you back onto the advanced. There's no one rule fits everybody. And we understand that sometimes as a beginner, you might come in as technically very good on something, and then you can progress straight away. But with other movements, maybe not. So overall, What we look for as a coach is over the weeks and over your development, we load you up, get you stronger, and then we have a little rest period, then we strength test you, then we do it again. And each time you come to your strength testing, you lift a little bit more. So then every new cycle, you should be lifting more when we come into each interval. And then
I think what I really love about that is the opportunity from a participant point of view to develop in different areas. So in terms of, for me personally, deadlifts, no dramas, load me up. Great on deadlifts, have worked them for a very long time, spent a long time working my technique. So excellent, I can go for it on deadlifts. But let's talk about my overhead squat for a minute. Now, don't laugh.
And then we recognize that we still need to work on some things.
It allows me that opportunity to go, you know what? This workout's got deadlifts in it, and I'm going to absolutely hammer my deadlifts because I know that I'm there and I've got my loading right and I know my technique's right. And then come to the next workout, the programming allows me to load my overhead squat correctly to help me with technique and progression.
And that's the whole idea. Every person is different, where we've trained different styles across our lifetime. We've experienced different things. We've got different levels of mobility. So we really must understand that just because someone is like yourself very proficient when it comes to deadlift, it doesn't necessarily mean that the overhead squat is going to be just as proficient, because maybe that's a movement that we don't practice too often. Maybe like most people, if they realize that they really don't like it, they don't work it. So then we find a little bit of a gap. And it's not to say that we want you to do things that you don't like, but we definitely understand that shying away from things just because you feel like you can't do it is not the way to progress. So we do try to bring to light some of the things that you might otherwise be avoiding, and then that way we can develop them. So likewise, when we do our cardio testing, I mean, not everybody wants to do cardio. I understand that. Some people want to do strength, but it's a domain of health. So we don't avoid it. We don't only focus on strength. we also focus on cardio. So we will have 50% of the girls love cardio week, love their 5-minute time trial, and then the other 50% go, oh, but they do it because they want to see how far they've progressed. And at the end of it, they're happy. So in essence, what we do is we say, we understand you don't like cardio, but we also understand that you can progress in it. So we really want you to partake in cardio because it is part of the fitness domains, and we don't want to ignore that.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing about FIIT30 is it doesn't ignore, or it doesn't allow you to ignore any particular domain of fitness. It really encourages you to work all of the domains of fitness. Whereas if I was training on my own, there's no way in hell I would program overhead squats for myself. And there's no way in hell I would program a 5-minute cardio time trial for myself. I just wouldn't do it.
And that's the glory of having it being done via a coach. So usually when people come to a personal trainer, they do it because that personal trainer is going to program for them and push them out of their comfort zone. They do it because they know if they rely on themselves to do it, that they're just as likely to go and fold the washing and do house chores than jump on the treadmill and do a 5-minute trial. So they know deep down that they should do it. So then they ask somebody else to make sure that they do it. And that's kind of my role in a sense, because when I do the programming, I'm essentially making sure that, yes, you can experience all the things you love to do, like deadlift, but you also have to work on things like the overhead squat. And don't get me wrong, it's not something that we smash you with. It's not like every workout will be overhead squat to the point where you're like, I can't stand this, but it might pop up once a week or once every fortnight, just to say, hey, like I'm here and we're working on this. And everybody's got something that they're working on. And always the program that you get on the day will be different. So for a Monday, we have the early morning class and the mid-morning class. Yes, they receive the same session for that time slot, but next Monday they'll have a completely different workout, and the Monday thereafter and the Monday thereafter. We also look at different kind of cardiovascular styles of training. So we look at aerobic or anaerobic, or working in endurance style, so longer duration stuff, and the HIIT style with the shorter duration but very intense. And that in itself, that changes every day, and we cycle through that every week. So it won't be 2 HIIT sessions back to back. You'll likely have a HIIT session followed by a little bit more of a gentler session the next day, then some endurance, then we come back. Ideally, it's just to give you a very broad and sweeping fitness level across lots of different things.
Beautiful. I don't know what else to ask you now, because you're so across FIIT30, and it's so evident that you are engrossed in FIIT30 and you love it almost as much as almost as much.
I love it. I love it because when I see the girls do their strength testing and when I see their numbers go up, when I see them do their time trials, even though I do hear their complaints every week about how much they hate a certain thing, when I see their face, when they've made improvement, it's 100% worth it. Also seeing them smile, also seeing them come a long way from being intimidated to empowered. I'm ready. I can do that box jump. I could only do step-ups when I started, but now I'm ready to jump. Well, that's it.
And then we're loading on the boxes. We're layering boxes. Yeah.
And it's just amazing to witness and watch. It's like watching a child grow. You go, wow, you've come in such a long way in 3 months and 6 months and 12 months and since you started. We've got girls that have been there for years and they're still progressing. They're still making improvements, and it's amazing to watch. And it's for any age range.
And the thing is, without those fitness testing, so without your strength testing, without your cardio testing, without your benchmark workouts, they're progressions that they probably would never have seen in themselves.
Exactly. And unfortunately, without the monitoring, you don't notice that it's happening. So half the time, unless you're very adamant about tracking your workouts and making sure you're progressively overloading and all those sorts of things, you won't remember oh yeah, I used to only deadlift 30 and now I deadlift 60, and by the time you do remember, you've lost motivation because you've not been tracking along the way. You've not found those little bits of motivation every couple of weeks to months to spur you on just that little bit more. And honestly, sometimes it might be small. With the military press, you don't go up in big bounds.
But no, the little ones.
When something goes up in a kilo, wow, celebrate. But then in the deadlift, that can change dramatically. There are girls that have done their first strength testing, and then by the time the next ones come along, they're putting 20 more kilos on that bar. And you go, that is phenomenal. And it's a learning, it's a growing, and it's amazing to watch. And coupled with all of that, and I know it sounds all very serious, but we do like to have fun. So we put in class challenges. So in 2 weeks' time, we'll have 4 weeks of class challenges where, workouts are set up for you to try and compete for points. And if you're successful across the 4 weeks, then you'll go into the draw to do a raffle, to win a prize. It's not always just hard work and sweat and tears. There's no tears, but it's not always hard work and sweat. It's fun. I want to make it fun. Fitness should be fun. There should be aspects of it that challenge you, to change you, but also aspects of it that are fun to keep you motivated. And that's important too. So I hope to be able to capture all of that in FIIT30. And our coaches are amazing. Yeah.
They are. They are super duper fun girls to work with. All right. So in a nutshell, if someone was thinking about trying FIIT30, what's your advice?
My advice would be just to give it a go. Okay. Find a class time and day that works for you. Chat to any one of us on the floor, and we can organise for you a complimentary session. You never know, you might actually have a few sessions on your account that we can look at and see if we can get you in. That way you get to experience it. You don't need to commit to anything. You just get a chance to throw yourself in the deep end and not look at it and be intimidated. Because if you only ever look at something, that something can never help you. You've got to get into it. You've got to give it a go. And everything's scalable. Everything's scalable. Don't be scared. Coaches are totally approachable. We are open, we are willing, and we want you to come down. So if you're keen and you're still a little bit intimidated, come down, say hi, even talk to the coaches for a few weeks, and then book your complimentary session and then see how you feel.
Yes. And if you're lucky, you might catch me sweating it out there too.
Yeah, with 5 towels.
That's always enjoyable to watch me sweat bucket loads and struggle with my overhead squat. So if nothing else, just come and watch me struggle with an overhead squat.
Overall, Corrine, you do very, very, very well. Your only weakness at this point that I've found is your overhead squat. And that's a complicated movement, so you should be proud of everything that you do. But yes, 5 towels, Corrine.
Yeah. 5 towels, Corrine, that's me. Yeah. I only just told my family yesterday that the description, I just finished a workout at home and my dad said to me, what have you been doing? It's like, I just did a workout. I said, I'm known as the sweaty one. Yeah. He's like, what? Yeah. I said, well, if people need to describe me, that sweaty instructor.
Yeah, that's okay. Look, it's heat dissipation. That's fine. Let it happen.
Oh, dear. Well, Kirsty, it has been a pleasure as always. I hope that was super helpful for everyone looking to join FIIT30. And as Kirsty said, just come and chat to either the coaches or jump up to reception and we'll be able to have a little bit more of a chat about FIIT30.
Yep, beautiful, 100%. Check us out, have a little go. There's no harm in it.
Absolutely. All right, lady, I will see you soon and we will see everyone else in the club super soon.
All right, take care, everyone. Enjoy your Australia Day.